Welcome and salute and welcome. Greatly appreciate everybody for coming in. Okay, so I wanted to get this first. So sorry if it's a little janky. Don't have a thumbnail as of the time that this video was created, but I wanted to get this out because I got things to do today. And yes, she had an interesting response. I seen it one time and I decided to share it, watch it again, and share it with everybody. So let's do this. Okay, here we go. All right. So, fair use, fair use. Actually,
Today's sidebar starts with a note of gratitude. I want to thank the culture for making my interview with Dr. Iyanla Vanzant one of the most popular and actively engaged content offerings the Griot has produced. So before I tell you my thoughts, let's replay the clip that had some of y'all deep into your feelings. I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to I don't know, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build. When some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not.
now, if you check out my video from yesterday, we talk about those statistics. Let me know if it's choppy when I play the video. Let me know that, and I'll find other ways. But yesterday we talked about the statistics that these damning statistics, how they're falsified by her or they're exaggerated by her. She says things like, in 22 cities across the country, the major cities like Yuba County, California, or like Yuba City, California, which is not a major city, but I digress. Anyway, she's saying that the women out earn the men in these cities, when in actuality, this is only true for the people under 30, the women under 30. My suggestion would be, if you're a woman under 30 and you really need a man who out earns you, then you should probably get with a man over 30. Just saying. It's not rocket science. And you don't need a law degree to figure that out. Nevertheless, she wants to make it appear as if there's this deficit. And the reason why she wants to do this, why Erica wants to do this, is to justify her obnoxious behavior and the obnoxious behavior of women like her. And by women like her, I mean black women. You see, they want to behave a certain way and then say, we have to behave this way because our men are subpar. If our men were on par, we would be sugar and spice and everything nice. And quite frankly, that simply isn't true for a large portion of them. Let's continue. Oh, by the way, notice how she said provision. I want y'all to keep that in your brain right now. Notice she used the word provision. Okay.
Not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources.
They're not earning the incomes. Remember that she said incomes and resources. In fact, not only are we going to remember this, 57 seconds in, so I'll give it to like, say, 53. We're going to revisit this. Let's continue.
And some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Now let's address the response to the interview and what some of y'all are calling a backlash. So let me be clear. First, I am a professional disruptor. So backlash is my business. And I will always take it on the chin for the sake of advancing the work, conversation, or movement. So know that I am completely unfazed.
What movement? You're obviously a feminist, so you're a part of that movement. What if I was to tell anybody you can't be both feminist and pro black? Those are two conflicting agendas. The black community cannot function well under feminism and with a large majority of feminists contained within it. So you can't be pro black and a feminist at the same time. So I ask you, what movement are you referring to?
By the onslaught of nasty comments, wishing me a sad, lonely, bitter existence until my untimely death. Now, that is some weird energy to be wishing onto a Black woman, especially one who has dedicated her life to the liberation of Black folk. But, what?
Dedicated your life to the liberation of black folk? Please tell me, what do you do, have you done to liberate black folk? Just curious.
Whatever, I guess, go off. See, I wanted to talk about how do we close the gap between Black women who do show up in a so-called masculine posture, those of us that are providing and building and protecting due to circumstances that we might feel make us feel that if we don't do it for ourselves, we will have to go without the resources and protections we need to feel safe in this world. But Dr. Iyanla went in a different direction. She asked me a personal question. And y'all know I have been extremely transparent about the fact that my life choices and my chosen lifestyle are far outside of the norm. So when
We don't know. I personally don't know anything about you. If it wasn't for this interview with somebody who I did know about, I still wouldn't know you.
said that I would date the bus owner, a lot of y'all heard something different. Some of you heard the following: bus drivers whack, bus drivers are broke. Oh, and I'm too good for a bus driver. The only thing is, y'all made that part up. See, I said what I said, but then
Okay. The first two things that she said, I didn't really conclude that. The last thing, I'm too good for a bus driver, is an accurate statement. If you will not date a man because he's a bus driver that doesn't own the bus, then it is because you feel that you are too good for him. Now, stand on that statement if you want, and that's perfectly fine for you to stand on that, but don't pretend like that's not what you meant. You are too good, in your opinion, you are too good to date a man that drives the bus if he doesn't own it. Stand on that.
some of y'all started talking about salaries and hourly wages, pensions and benefits. And that's wild because I was never talking about money at all.
I was never talking about money at all. Now we go back to 53 seconds. Remember, I was never talking about money at all. Do, 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 do.
Not earning income, they're not
Earning the incomes.
having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
I wasn't talking about money at all. Let's go back again. 53 seconds. Actually, let's go back to 50.
Nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not
Earning the income. They're not having the resources. So you were talking about money. Stop lying. You were talking about money. Now, let's go back to where we left off and continue.
I was talking about Black ownership, but some
No. You was not talking about Black ownership. You was talking about
not earning the incomes. They're not
earning the incomes. Let's continue.
But some of y'all made it about money. I'm talking about ownership, Black enterprise, and entrepreneurship. They're not earning, they're not having the resources. Some of them are not even.
I could do that. I could do that all day. You see, here's the thing. I have conversations like this with people in real life. And I hate that they can do that. Because in real life, she would deny ever saying this. She will deny tooth and nail and fight tooth and nail. I don't know how she gets over in the court system where they have a stenographer. That's probably why she went to the griot. But you know, they'll deny that they ever said the thing that they just said. Who said anything about money? I'm talking about ownership and blah blah. No, you was talking about money. You was talking about income.
Like entrepreneurship, because I am talking about Black liberation. And if you read my book, you'll understand why. So I'm standing 10 toes down on that position, and I don't really care if you're hurt or offended by it. And since
Nobody's hurt or offended by it. You see, the things that you said that you gleaned from the comments is that people had a negative opinion of you. Once again, they had a negative opinion of you. That doesn't mean that a person is hurt or offended because they have a negative opinion of you. You see how that works, sweetie? You see how that works? I know that you like to say, oh, yes, you know, because Black people have this thing that they like to do. They like to stand over someone and say, oh, your feelings are hurt, and which puts you in the position of a weakness. And then you are supposed to, according to their twisted tactics, recant whatever assertion that you made prior to that in order to not seem weak in your feelings. But no, this isn't a matter of feelings. You said something that the general public didn't agree with, and their opinion of you was unfavorable as a result of that. It's not about their feelings. And you want to know why? It most certainly isn't about my feelings. For one, I wasn't really talking about you and my thing. I was talking about Iyanla. But for two, I'm not a bus driver. Nor do I have a burning desire to get with you. So it's really like a non-starter with me. It's not a matter of personal feelings. You're a public figure. People are going to have their opinions of you. And right now it's negative.
some of y'all are already big mad, let me go ahead and make you incensed. So out of the 50,000 plus comments posted on social, I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of Black men when I said what I said.
I love it. I love it how she views herself as an authority. She put herself in a position of authority. I am trying to get you to ascend. Therefore, I'm going to close my vagina to those who haven't ascended to the level that I feel is necessary. Okay, I can rock with that. Let's continue. Oh, and by the way, she literally said that she's opened it to all other races. Because, you know, she's all about the brothers, right? she's all about getting them to ascend, right? You know, I could see her meeting a bus driver and then saying, you know something? Come to me the day that you own a bus. But no, by that time she's with Habib. She's with, anybody else in the rainbow. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against interracial dating. But to do it under the guise of, I have done more for black people than blah, 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 when you also said this.
How women need to, I don't know, position in so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age
Across the color spectrum.
Trust me, I've done them all.
Yeah. You go around doing them all, thinking that, oh, yes, I'm just trying to get black men to aspire to do better. Miss me with that. This is all about getting more provisions for you. How do I know it's about getting more provisions for you? Well, let's see. At 53.
Earning the incomes, they're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
There you go. It's all about the income, the resources for you. The color doesn't matter. It's all about you getting more stuff. More stuff.
Black women in general as undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse. Now, I suspect that some ascension of social, so I'm standing 10 toes down on that position, and I don't really care if you're hurt or offended by it. And since some of y'all are already big mad, let me go ahead and make you incensed. So out of the 50,000 plus comments posted on social, I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position, and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of black men when I said what I said. But see, no, some of y'all were too busy naming and shaming me personally and black mineral as undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse.
Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb and really say that she's just now throwing in black. Now, if that's the case, then it really says something about how she views the world. Right quick. Okay, so we're going to go back to, let's just say 45, actually 44. And let's see, 'cause I don't think that they were talking about black men when she was talking about inadequacies.
Spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all.
Okay, so right there, she made it clear that she's not really talking about race, but I'm going to go back further so we can get the full quote.
So that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, iyanla, to how women need to.
So she said women. She didn't say black women. She said women.
I don't know, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm
now she didn't say black men.
Talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum.
And she made it specific that she's talking about all races.
Spectrum. Trust me, I've done them all.
She made it clear that she'd done them all.
They are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver?
Okay. So now we're clear on this. What she's doing is she's using blackness as a shield. She's using blackness as a shield. No, I'm just trying to inspire black men to be masters of the bus stop. I'm just trying to inspire black men. I'm trying to help the poor colored man, the black man. I'm black, y'all, because I'm black, y'all. So don't fight back, y'all, because I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and you don't fight back, y'all. Don't you see that I'm black? I'm doing this for blackness. The thing I said about all men and all women, I'm doing it for black men specifically. For whatever reason, when Iyanla Vanzant said I'm talking about a bus driver, I pictured him as black. I just pictured, even though I've done all the men like a rainbow, I've done the entire spectrum of a prism. Even though I have done all of that, when she said a bus driver, I pictured a black man. And then I kind of stepped into my, sister soldier. And then I said, okay, I want to inspire this black man to own the bus. Even though Ayala could have been talking about a white man who's a bus driver, and they really don't need inspiration to own the bus. So yeah. Y'all see this? Y'all see this tactic? Facelifts, which she obviously had, as I have explained before, affects your brain. It affects your brain. It dulls your brain. Why? Your brain is your central nervous system. It tells each and every single portion of your body what to do and when to do it. It sends signals. It sends signals. It sends signals. It tells your lungs to breathe without you having to consciously do so. It tells your glands to produce saliva. It tells you to sneeze involuntarily. It balances your feet. And it also moves the features in your face. Now, your brain is sending signals to your face. Now, the problem with her is that it's sending it to the wrong place. Her brain is sending signals to where her face used to be before the lift. This confuses the brain and make other functions difficult, more difficult. Functions like thinking before you speak and not falling into default black shield. Not playing the black card when you find it convenient or at the inopportune time.
But even considerability of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of black men when I
See? No one said that the bus driver was black.
But see, no, some of y'all were.
Let me know if the connection is bad.
Too busy naming and shaming me personally and black women in general as.
And black women in general. Okay.
Undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse. Now, I suspect that some of y'all are the same men that were bringing home C's and D's on your report cards, only to then be coddled by parents that said, well, that's okay. I believe in the excellence of black men. So no, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay.
Awful. She don't see, and she don't want you all to see, that in this analogy that she just gave, she's the parent. And black men, you are the child. I repeat, in this analogy that she just gave, she is the parent. And black men, you are the child. This is how she sees you. Even if the discussion isn't about black men being the bus driver, she's the parent and you are the child bringing home D's and C's. And she is the one to stand above you and say, that is not good enough. So, to all you bus drivers out there, you in trouble. I'm going to tell Eboni. I'm going to tell Eboni that you don't own that bus. You in trouble. That is the way she sees the world. That is the way she sees the black community. That is the way she sees black men. And if I had to guess, an intelligent guess, an educated guess, I would say that she sees mediocrity even in black men that excel past her. Now, it really don't matter one way or another. Simply put, those guys aren't messing with her. And that's the real reason why she's frustrated, bitter, angry. Spending so much hiring doctors to preserve what little beauty that she has remaining. She's making a frankenface of herself, hoping to find a black man that she respects, but don't respect himself enough to be with a woman who's looking to justifiably disrespect him. Let's continue.
No, I will not create a soft place for you or anybody that I love to fall comfortably into the bigotry of low expectations. So I'm going to say one more time. There's absolutely nothing wrong with driving a bus. My mother Gloria drove one for years. But could it be that...
Who was her parent? Who was her parent? I mean, obviously, bus drivers need somebody to stand above them and say that they're inadequate. Who did that to your mama? Ah, no one. No one except God. No one except life can police black women. I mean, that is who did it, right? You did mention before that your father wasn't there. Just saying.
Black America has been sold a narrative of average, regular, and typical being good enough for us. Well, see, that's called white supremacy. And in this case, it takes the form of condition.
Once again, the comments wasn't about race. The response, the counter comments, is about race. And she's trying to say, oh, she's doing it for the culture. But once again, actually, let's go back. Let's go back and see if they mention race.
Can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel to how women need to...
Women, not black women, not about race.
I don't know, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, deal with the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum,
So she's not talking about black men.
across the age spectrum. Trust me, I've done them all. Um, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes, they're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver?
She didn't say a black bus driver. Okay, moving back to 448. Now, when I finish this, I'll give my conclusion because it's almost done. Okay, so
Americans to happily accept being a permanent American underclass. But see, because I know the truth about Black folk in America, no, average good enough. Yeah, it is good enough for you either.
all right. So yeah. Hold on. Let me stop right there. Stop screen. I'll even put this out there. All right. Now, here. All right. I'll make this quick. Look at how she views the world. How do I get my crown? How do I get my divinity? How do I put myself on this? And these peasants, they're average, they're mediocre. You know, if they're C's and D's, and I am not going to give to these peasants. Don't you see my crown? In the minds of women like this, women, black women, are perfect. There's no such thing as an average black woman. All of them are above reproach. I mean, you won't hear her talking about, the black woman or girl that brought home C's and D's. In her analogy, only boys bring home those type of grades. They are divine. They deserve a crown because there's no such thing as an average woman, right? They just all walk around with a crown, but some of them are crooked and they need to straighten it out. But these men, they have to get these peasants in line. Huh. I'm wondering why a catch like that is not taken. Curious. Curious. All right. So, oh, is that what I think it is? Is that what I think it is? Yes, it is. I greatly appreciate it. All right. So, let me get to this Cash App. All right. So Eric A, appreciate you. It says for please Google 4 million Mal BD Black Excellence. Okay. I will do that. I will do that while I speak to you. Okay. But thanks a lot, Eric. Appreciate you, Eric A. All right. And let me read the super chats. Too Cool for School says, if you can, as an extension, cover her response on Breakfast Club. She was dancing all around it. Who, Erica Williams did a response on Breakfast Club? If so, let me know. Yeah, and I'll cover that. Too Cool for School, greatly appreciate you. All right, thanks a lot. And if a guy poured into a woman the same way, he'd be all kinds of toxic. Let's see. I see why she's on TV. She'd get wrecked in court. LOL. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not a lawyer, and I'd wreck the crap out of her. You know, like I'd wreck her face back down. Like I'd unlift it. Like it would just be so just terrible. Like, she'll just be up there like, I didn't say that. And then like, could the court stenographer read exactly what she said? Dang, I bet your whole career was like that. That's awful. That's awful. I picture like Dennis Sperlin just just, it wouldn't even be like a decent battle. It'd be like a human choking a chicken. Dang, dang. It must suck to suck that bad. Yeah. So that's the thing. H&M, what's on your mind?
What's up, Game Changer?
Nothing much, brother.
Yeah, my response to that nonsense. Oh God.
Yeah.
It's bad enough. She said she'll deal with a bus driver only if he owns the bus. And the thing that gets me about situations like these is that women feel like if they raise the bar as far as what they want out of a man, that it's gonna aspire them to get better. It's gonna inspire them to rise up and get their game up. Well, the only thing it's going to aspire men to do is stay the holy mother of hell away from women like yourself because of your unrealistic standards and your seeming hatred for men who are blue collar workers. And honestly, this kind of stuff is really nothing new because I've noticed a lot of blue collar, whether they're bus drivers, taxi drivers, plumbers, construction workers, they've been getting bad reps for as long as I can remember. I'm too good for those kind of jobs. He don't make enough money for me. That's been going on for the longest.
Yeah.
So
you got it.
This kind of thing is really nothing new. For her to sit there and say this is just to inspire them to ascend, that's just a bunch of nonsense. And my thing is, why are you talking about you don't deal with men like this when you know damn well you don't bring much to the table yourself at the age you're at?
Well, yeah, she could have brought more to the table at a younger age. I agree, but there is a there with black women and blue collar guys. To me, it's in part their own low self-esteem combined with this strange sense of empowerment that's going on in the world. Okay, here's what I mean by that, because I know the two things contradict each other when put into the same vessel, but not really. You see, black women have low self-esteem on a personal level. Like they feel very down about themselves and their worth. Now, what they do is they surround their sense of worth with things like degrees or having a job in an air-conditioned building and stuff like that. Their entire sense of worth comes from this false illusion of status in most cases. In many cases, it is. So picture like a person who feels bad about themselves, but good about what they do. Good about being a secretary, good about having a degree that may or may not have value to society. So they loathe who they are, but they embrace what they are. So they kind of find themselves in that particular position. Now, with that embrace, they have to feel like the thing that they are, not who they are, the thing that they are is better than somebody. And in this particular case, is blue collar people. And, it's unfortunate that it's blue collar black men. You see, everybody knows I don't know what you would call the color of my collar, but I do work indoors. So if that's the determining factor, um, indoors versus outdoors, then I would be white collars. If indoors is white and outdoors is blue, and I don't think it's that cut and dry because what do you call like a engineer who works on airplane? I guess they call those guys blue collar too. They can literally call people who are engineers for NASA blue collar. But that's the stupidity of this type of division. Anyway, go for it.
Let me say that I'm gonna say any job that requires, physical labor or the use of your hands is considered a blue collar job. Like I said, being a plumber, being a driver, things like that, those are blue collar jobs.
I'm using my hand to code all the time, brother.
Okay, that may kind of fall into the same category.
No, I'm just saying that
I
it's
don't
not
know.
blue or white. It's kind of like light blue. But no, I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. You know, what I'm getting at is that there's a need to feel above somebody. And what I found working in corporate, working indoors with a lot of these type of women, not necessarily her, because I never worked in the legal field, is that they do not make much money. Many, if not most, make less than um, the bus driver. For example, right? I did some work, and I'm not going to say where, but let's just say it's a nonprofit dealing with kids, right? So it's a nonprofit dealing with kids. I did work on their back end web service, right? And the place was maybe like 95% women, most all of whom were educated. They all made, what was it? About 18 to $19 an hour. And I know this because for one, they would tell me, um, for two, I was the only one there making, well, I was one of the few people there that didn't make that. And when I would say stuff, they would say, they would speak as if I'm flexing or stunting. For example, I would say, it's California, and talk about the weather. And I tell them that I leave my air conditioner on 78. So when I get home, the moment I open the door, I'm hit with the cold. And I'll say, like, I can't wait to do that. I can't wait. And they was like, oh yeah, that's because you make that money. I just turned on the air conditioner when I get home. And I wasn't stunned. I was just like, okay. And just for y'all to know, what 18 is. If I'm not mistaken, here minimum wage is 15. And even if that's not the minimum wage, that's what they pay people who would generally get minimum wage. Like if you go to a McDonald's or a Burger King or something, and they say now hiring, it would say starts at $15 an hour. So that's what the pay is here. So they went to school and they got their degree, and they work indoors in the air conditioned building, but it's still 18 an hour. Now, I looked it up. Actually, I'll look it up again. Um, I'll look it up again for a different transit system, because before I was doing Alameda County Transit, but I'm gonna do how much. All right, so San Francisco bus driver makes anywhere between $23 and $39 an hour. So they would make less than that particular bus driver. They're 18. He starts out at $5 more. Now, since we're talking about people in their 40s, he would probably be making twice what she makes. It's foolish for them to look down on them. But because of their, yeah, I typed in Muni. That's the Muni. For those of you who don't know, Muni is the name of the San Francisco bus system. It's called Muni. And actually, yeah, so no, that's just a salary. So that equates to about 41 to 66K a year. But they want to, the need to feel better than someone is so strong that they would overlook a man who is obviously out earning them. And together they would have disposable income. Now she's on a whole different thing because her income is obviously more than both of these combined. But nevertheless, white collar does not necessarily mean better. That's what I'm getting at. White collar, again, does not necessarily mean better. Ah, good point. So, how much does a BART driver make? I'll do that. Just in case you need a simple calculator, that $26 and a penny an hour. So $1,000 a week, and um, which once again is more. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. I think that I think that they look down on bus drivers and really any blue collar job, because that's really they're Ayala, she kind of was like trying to point to the low end on the income, but really any blue collar job, um, they're looking down on it falsely, falsely. And what's worse is if a young man was to take a position as a social worker or something like that, he would then say, or she would then say, nah, you make the same amount as I do. And here's the kicker, and I know this because of the type of work that I do, and that it's typically when it's not at home, it is indoors. They become extremely uncomfortable around guys that make well over twice what they make.
Why? I don't
So,
get it.
huh?
Why would they be uncomfortable around men that make more than them? Isn't that what they brag and boast about all the time? If he make more money, then he can be in charge. If she make more money, then she can't respect him. I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot of that is they are concerned if we are actually interested in them. And remember what I told you about the security insecurity thing. So you have a person who is insecure about who they are, but secure about what they are. Once a man isn't looking at what she is, he just sees who she is, and then she's very uncomfortable being seen that way. You get what
Oh,
I mean?
I get it. Kind of like that corporate woman who has a high paying job and she loves what she does, but as a person, she's the worst human being in the whole wide world. She's bossy, impulsive, disrespectful, the whole nine, and she knows people can see that outside of what she does for a living. Kind of like that, right?
Something like that. Yeah. That's close, but she might not even be a bad person, but she sees herself as innately low value.
Or insufficient, inadequate.
Exactly. And through the eyes of somebody who is more sufficient in the way that she values sufficiency, then he sees that. That's her point of view. And this isn't something I'm making up, or I'm thinking of on the fly. This is something that I notice in dealing with these types of women. Somebody said it best. Basically, it sounds like an inferiority complex. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is an inferiority complex. And they are seeking a sense of superiority from external means, but it's unsuccessful when somebody is superior in the way that you are seeking superiority. So it becomes extremely uncomfortable. It becomes extremely uncomfortable. Somebody said that they're dealing with men that they can't control. Yeah, absolutely. But furthermore, they still attempt to. And then that's when the whole, save your community, type control comes into play. They still attempt to do methods of control. And sometimes it's even successful, but rarely. Rarely. Not with intelligent brothers. It doesn't. Most of the tactics become ineffective, and um, some tactics are, but these are the same tactics that all women use. So, yeah. All right. So, any final thoughts? I'm cutting it to Chantel stuff. So, any final thoughts?
Yeah, me too. I just got the notification about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanna hear her take on this too. But thanks for having me up, Game Changer, as usual. This was something interesting to touch on, because I've noticed a lot that blue collar workers do get a bad rep, even though it's definitely unwarranted. I'm a blue collar worker myself. I worked at an airport for damn near 7 years, going on 8 years, so I can sympathize for blue collar workers. So I don't see the point in talking down on people that's being responsible with their money, got excellent work ethic, just because they're not at the level you believe they need to be at. All this get on my level, sweetheart. How about you get on the man's level? And I'm not talking about finance. I'm talking about mindset wise.
Well,
Because when they say get on my level, they always mean get on my level as far as where I'm at financially. No, how about you get on my level where I'm at mindset wise? Because I'm being responsible with my money while you up here spending. I'm out here walking around with a good head on my shoulder. You walk around with these unrealistic standards that you know damn well the average man won't live up to. So they need to get on our level mindset wise, not so much finance wise. That's something women need to work on for themselves. That's my take on that.
I wouldn't even. I wouldn't even like think about that. Like women like that, because um you can't really make them like a certain thing. And okay, here's the thing.
I didn't say
Like,
make them like a certain thing, but oh,
no, or suggest. Okay, here's the thing. I never really wanted to get caught up in that. And I used to at a very young age. You see, I'm not athletic and never have been. I was always picked last in elementary school, and then by junior high, I didn't even try. And girls liked guys that were athletic, and that was something that I simply couldn't be. Now, you could follow some philosophies and say, they should like this, they should like the smart guy, they should, but later in life, I didn't. I just accept what it is. Like, they like these particular type of guys, and I'm okay with that. It'll take them down a path of, success or failure, but that's their journey. Like I don't know. I get what you're saying. I think that it's not in their best interest, definitely. But I mean, would it really be in anybody's best interest if she did date a bus driver?
I mean, that depends. If he's a good person, maybe. I don't know. You
Well,
can't
are we
judge
talking
someone's
about
character just
Ebony?
from the job they do.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. But GC, what you just said is spot on. But I don't know if it's just in the manosphere or if it's men in general. But a lot of men, and I'm not just talking about picking on black guys. I'm like men in period. Um, they don't accept what you just like said that you accept.
Mhm.
Because I know, like when I was younger, I mean, I guess I ran track, so technically I was an athlete. But like
They
I
didn't
was
bring
like
the crowd like the basketball players.
yeah, I was a distance runner. So, of course I was skinny, I didn't, I only thing I did in the weight room was leg press. I was not I got cut from the ball team. I didn't play football, whatever, but I was friends with like, guys who played football and basketball. And we all pretty much had success in college at that point. Once we all were that age, everybody kind of accepted their lane and knew what they could do and what kind of women they kind of could attract naturally without trying too hard. But I noticed a lot of guys don't accept that, and they kind of try to date outside of their natural dating pool. And even with the high value guys, I could say they do it too, because some of them, they want to go for prime age women, and these men are far removed from their physical prime, and they try to make up for it with money instead of just going for maybe a woman who's like 37 or something, who might actually just date them, you know, and accept them. But yeah, not to go off on a tangent, but
No, I disagree with you on that. I don't feel that a man has a lane. I feel that in order to get to a destination as quickly as possible, you switch lanes to whichever one works best at the time that you're in it. But
Well,
nevertheless,
I don't mean that it's it can't change over time or that it's like set in stone or anything.
no. What I
But
mean
yeah,
is, what I'm saying is, don't. I would never tell a man to restrict himself, and I'm really not telling Ebony to do that. You know, if you are a man that's 50 and you find yourself in the company of a 25-year-old, shoot your shot. You know, yeah, chances are it will not work to your favor, but don't defeat yourself before you even try. You know.
well, I'm not mad at them shooting a shot. I'm just saying like a lot
Well,
of
I mean,
these.
shoot out your lane, like, you know, Steph Curry it. You know, you don't
Yeah,
have to. You know,
if
yeah,
they weren't like making videos complaining about women and the dating market and stuff without acknowledging that some of them they kind of lack self-awareness. So if they were really honest with themselves, um, and I mean this doesn't apply. I mean, because your channel, I agree with like the people I'm referring to probably don't even watch your channel. Like you're kind of one of the most like logical channels in the manosphere. So or that's even manosphere adjacent. So I mean, this may not really apply to anybody watching, but just I notice a lot of maybe I guess red pill leaning type of people. They'll complain about the dating market and stuff, but it's like some of them they're not factoring in that like how kind of Ramil talks about guys who go after the Keishas and they want to stay on the Keisha plantation and they go back and forth with the passport bros and blah blah blah. Like I think a lot of these guys and even passport bros that applied to some of them, some of these guys just aren't honest with themselves. Because like you said, where some of the women when you were in high school, they may not have liked the smart guy, they liked the athletic guy. When I was younger, I had girlfriends even when I was a virgin and before I even got to college. So I knew, even though I wasn't per se jacked and 6'3" or whatever, I knew that even very attractive women, some of them do like skinny guys. Actually, a lot
exactly.
of them. So if a muscly guy can get 100 women in a club and I can only get 95, I don't really care because at that point we both have abundance. I mean, that's what I'm where I'm coming from.
And that I agree with. And that I
Yeah.
agree with. Like, there were enough women that were into, and I'm not even gonna say that athletes are dumb because, or anything like that. But there were women who were into the non-athletic smart guy. So it really, what I was saying, this is more to you, H&M. Don't dwell on the ones that are with that dude. My friends were on the basketball team and the football team. I didn't say, oh, that chick just like you because don't dwell on that. There will be somebody who is going to be into you for you, blue collar or not. I mean, black women need to get over that, granted, but there are women who can appreciate a hard working man with a 401k. That's for damn sure. And she may or may not be black, and she may not be from the US. I mean, but hell, you fly for free, right? I mean, that's what working. That's why you work for the airport. If I work for the airport, I was like, man, you know I can go anywhere for free.
No, that is true.
Yeah,
Um,
but I'm
yeah.
about to head out. Closing thoughts. We'll do Stefan and then H&M.
Oh yeah, I'll just do one last thing. This isn't just to the passport bros. This could be to any like black American guy who, even if he's just in America, but he dates, non-American black women, or if he dates more so Latina or whatever, Caucasian, whatever his thing is. I don't judge those guys at all because I think besides just the looks portion or like the swag, like these guys weren't successful with black women, but other women are more forgiving for their lack of swag or charisma or looks or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
The way I look at it is people are missing like a dating, like I don't know if it's culture, but like there's like a compatibility or chemistry component that people are missing. Because I noticed like when I dated, and I date mostly black women, like maybe 90%. Like I've messed with like a couple Asians, couple white chicks, one Latina, one or two. Like that's it. But I notice a lot of Black women I tend to be compatible with as far as dating. Like so physical attraction, but also like a more of a long-term interest. I notice a lot of them tend to be like maybe like kind of artsy. Some of them are kind of not necessarily introverted, but ambiverted, like women who kind of are social, but like they're the friend in the group who doesn't mind binge watching TV shows with her boyfriend all day. She'll actually turn down her girls' night. You know, kind of like a lot of foreign Black women. I notice I kind of vibe with. So I kind of know things beyond looks and beyond the superficial stuff that, like, if I meet a woman and I know certain things about her, within maybe 20 minutes, I kind of know if I have a shot, assuming that we have like at least a mild attraction. But I think a lot of people are missing that component. So some of these dudes who may not have swag or whatever, I think another part may be they're just not compatible with some of the Black women they're aiming at. And I'm not saying, of course, some of these alternative Black women are different. Black women from different backgrounds. Some of them may like the same things or chase, you know, certain similar. You know, like I'm tall, obviously, like I'm over 6 foot, so I'll admit I benefit from certain superficial advantages as well. But anyway, my point is, people are missing that compatibility and chemistry component, and I think they're putting it all on the fact that, oh, Black women only want this, or they only want Pookie, or they only want so and so. I think people are missing a portion of it, because I've had no trouble dating, Black women. I look at non-Black women as just a bonus at this point. It's just, if I date one here, that's fine. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts.
I hear you. Okay. Let me read this and then we'll go to H&M. It says, if you remove income issues, or excuse me, if you remove income issues, you remove their protective barrier excuse not to act right. Yeah, absolutely. You do put them in a realm where they have to compete for your attention on the basis of cooperation, femininity, submission, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that is where they feel inadequate. So what they tend to do is they, many of them more, and this is the ones who fit the Keisha stereotype more specifically, you know, they will double down on the Keisha-ness, hoping that you have a fetish for such a thing, or you're conditioned to like such a thing. And then, you know, give you the attitude or something just to test if you're interested. But once you make it clear that you're not so much, that you're just tolerating it and, you know, not really aroused by it, then they get hyper defensive and very insecure. So yeah, good observation, Jay. The aesthetic. All right, so H&M.
Yeah, my final thoughts are, well, that's a very good point you just brought up, because I'm not going to say this applies to all women, but I've seen firsthand how women who work hard at their jobs or work hard at this, that, and the third have a hard time being cooperative and submissive. You know, especially with a good man, but they want that man, like I said earlier, to get on his level, but they know that they're not on that level as far as being a well-rounded, date-worthy person. So we got to do better. Women got to do better. That's my final thoughts.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, with that, I'd like to thank everybody. This was an impromptu. I'm about to head over to Chantel Simone's at the link right here. You know, talking about pretty much the same thing. I don't know if she's going to cover the update, but for this impromptu, I want to thank the Cash Apps and Super Chats, the managers and moderators, those who are listening silently, and those who participate in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. GameChanger 00100. Game over. Peace.